Sara, a nimble and inquisitive young scavenger, squinted at the horizon as the sun cast its golden rays over the beach. Her group, a motley collection of scavengers, roamed the sands in search of treasures washed ashore or buried beneath the sands. They chattered excitedly, oblivious to Sara's growing curiosity about the dense jungle that bordered the beach. Drawn by an unexplainable urge, Sara gradually distanced herself from the group. The laughter and voices of her companions faded behind her as she ventured into the verdant embrace of the jungle. The air grew cooler, and the sunlight filtered through the canopy in dapples of light and shadow. As she wandered deeper, her keen eyes caught sight of something extraordinary. An old shipwreck, its once proud hull now entangled in roots and vines, hidden among the trees. Heart pounding with excitement, Sara approached the wreck. The ship, though ravaged by time and the elements, still bore an aura of grandeur. Its masts, though broken, reached skyward like skeletal fingers. She squeezed through a gap in the hull, her small frame agile and unimpeded. Inside, the ship was a haunting sight. The remnants of the crew lay scattered, their bones clothed in tattered remnants of once fine garments. The air was thick with the scent of decay and salt. Stepping carefully over fallen beams and debris, Sara made her way to the captain's cabin. The cabin was a stark contrast to the rest of the ship. It was richly adorned, with faded tapestries hanging from the walls and the glint of gold peeking through the dust. The centerpiece was the captain's table, a massive piece of furniture carved from dark wood. Sitting at the table, as if still contemplating the ocean's vast mysteries, was the skeleton of the captain. Sara's eyes were drawn to the table. There, amidst scattered maps and trinkets, lay a massive leather book with golden engravings that read, Tome of Mythos. Next to it, a golden medallion gleamed with the name Cedric Ironheart etched into its surface. With a mix of reverence and excitement, Sara stepped closer. Her fingers brushed the tome's cover, and she felt a strange warmth emanate from it. She had heard tales of Captain Cedric Ironheart, a legendary pirate whose ship had vanished without a trace. This discovery was beyond her wildest dreams. Sara's mind buzzed with the tales she had heard throughout her young life about Captain Cedric Ironheart. He wasn't just a legendary pirate, he was a figure of myth and legend himself. As she clutched the Tome of Mythos to her chest, memories of the stories she'd been told came flooding back, piecing together a vivid image of the enigmatic captain. From a wandering bard she once met at a market, Sara learned that Captain Ironheart was not confined to the seas. That medallion of his, the bard had said, eyes gleaming with excitement. It allowed him to travel not just across the world, but through time itself. The idea had seemed fantastical to Sara then, but now, with the golden medallion in her possession, the truth of the tale sent shivers down her spine. An old fisherman, whose face was weathered by salt and sun, had shared another piece of the puzzle. Ironheart's main focus wasn't treasure, lass, he had said, his voice a low rumble. He was after myths and legends. He sought the basilisk in the depths of forgotten caves, hunted the chimera in the arid deserts, and even tracked Fenrir through the frozen north. No tale was too wild for him, no legend too elusive. A traveling merchant who once camped with her group for a night spoke of Ironheart's quest for legendary artifacts. He was obsessed with objects of power, the merchant had explained, eyes wide with the memory. The Holy Grail, Excalibur, the Golden Apple of Discord. These were not just stories to him. He believed in their existence, and he sought them with an unyielding determination. But the tales that fascinated Sara the most were the ones about mythical places. An old woman, who lived on the edge of the village, had told her about Ironheart's journeys to realms beyond the mortal world. "They say he found the path to Valhalla," the woman had whispered, her voice filled with awe. "And that he stood at the gates of Olympus, daring to challenge the gods themselves." These stories, scattered and varied as they were, painted a picture of a man driven by a thirst for the extraordinary. Captain Cedric Ironheart was more than a pirate. He was a seeker of the unknown, a traveler through time and space, bound by the allure of myths and legends. His ship had vanished without a trace, becoming a ghostly legend itself. But the artifacts and knowledge he had gathered were now within Sara's grasp. Suddenly, the voices of her group echoed through the ship. They were close, their curiosity leading them towards the wreck. Panic surged through Sara. She quickly filled her pouch with as much gold as she could, her hands moving swiftly but carefully. The Tome of Mythos, however, was her greatest prize. She clutched it to her chest and looked around frantically. Spotting a gap among the planks, she squeezed through just as her group entered the captain's cabin. Their gasps of amazement and murmurs of disbelief echoed in her ears as she slipped away, her heart pounding in her chest. "Look at all this gold!" one of them exclaimed. "And the captain's skeleton! It's like a ghost ship!" Another voice added, tinged with awe and fear. Sara didn't wait to hear more. She darted through the jungle, her mind racing with thoughts of the tome and the secrets it might hold. She found a secluded spot under a large palm tree and carefully hid the tome in old rags, tucking it into a gap beneath the roots. Satisfied that it was safe, she returned to the group, who were too engrossed in their find to notice her absence. That night, as the campfire crackled and her companions shared their loot, Sara quietly slipped away. She retrieved the tome from its hiding place and settled beneath the palm tree, the flickering candlelight casting shadows on the pages as she opened it. The Tome of Mythos was filled with intricate illustrations and writings. As she turned the pages, a sense of destiny enveloped her. The stories of ancient gods, forgotten realms, and powerful artifacts seemed to whisper directly to her. And that's where the true story begins. For more stories from the pen of Captain Ironheart himself, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. Otherwise, the Tome of Mythos might stay hidden from you forever.